So this is Kat here, midwife, and today's video is dedicated to all the pregnant women out there, and we're going to explore food safety and hygiene. You have probably been told by your community midwives in the NHS which are the foods to avoid while you're pregnant. But obviously during the booking appointment, there is not much time, and there is also loads of information that you're given, and you have probably forgotten some of the details. Don't worry. This is why I've made this video today, and you can watch it over and over again on my Facebook page, Your Midwife UK, or on my YouTube channel, Your Midwife UK. So let's start with the foods that are safe to eat. So you can eat pretty much everything that's in nature, unless obviously you're a vegan, a vegetarian, a pescatarian, or you have your own views on food. What are the kind of food that I would normally find around me? So first of all, milk and dairy products, fish, meat, fruit and vegetables. Obviously in these categories there are some subcategories of foods that are better to avoid while you're pregnant. Let's start with milk and dairy. So anything that's made with pasteurized milk, or any soft cheese, again made with pasteurized milk, hard cheese, and mold ripened cheese that has been cooked are safe to eat while you're pregnant. Okay, any cheese that's been made with non-pasteurized milk, that means raw milk, or any other cheese that has that thin white layer outside or active mold going on, so any raw blue cheese, gorgonzola cheese, this sort of Stilton, they're not the safest to eat. First of all, because of the risk of listeriosis. So listeriosis is an infection caused by a bacteria called Listeria. If you catch it while you're pregnant, that could lead to miscarriage, stillbirth, or if you contract the infection during your third trimester and then you give birth, there is a high possibility that your newborn child would be very, very unwell. As for the mold ripened cheese, it's mainly because of the risk of infection, and because where there is mold, the bacterial growth is much higher. So just avoid any moldy cheese that hasn't been cooked thoroughly, or anything that's been made from unpasteurized milk. So anything that you find at the farmer's market. Sometimes even things that you buy at the farmer's market could be from pasteurized milk. So make sure that you read the label carefully, and you make sure that it says been made with pasteurized milk. In regards to meat, again, you can eat almost every sort of meat, apart from cold cuts of meat, cured meats, or raw meat in general. So the story with the cold cuts of meat, it's because otherwise you would be at a high risk of having an infection called toxoplasmosis. So toxoplasmosis is a disease caused by a bacteria called Toxoplasma gondii, which normally lives in the cat's intestine. So what happens? Not every cat has got toxoplasmosis, mind you, but if a cat has it, obviously when they release their droppings, they would then contaminate the soil where the droppings have been left, and then the stools will contaminate the rest of the soil and everything that grows on it. So animals will go and eat the grass and get infected. The only way to make sure that toxoplasmosis goes away and is killed is through cooking, thorough cooking and freezing. So anything that's been frozen first or anyway has been cooked is good to eat. One kind of meat that you shouldn't be eating while you're pregnant is liver, just because liver is full of vitamin A, it's very rich on vitamin A. So anything that contains liver, I'm thinking about foie gras, any sort of pate, or if you want to buy just some liver because you like it, you shouldn't be eating, because the amount of retinol, so that's a kind of vitamin A that you find in animals, in meat, it's very toxic for the baby, and that could lead to fetal abnormalities and congenital abnormalities. All the other cuts of meat, all the other kinds of meat are absolutely fine. In regards to fish, anything that's cooked is good to eat in pregnancy. You can also eat smoked salmon, although it's not thoroughly cooked. But the kind of smoked salmon that you buy at the supermarket is absolutely safe. Obviously, if you go to Scotland to the random guy that you've never seen before, who smokes the salmon in a not very sanitized place, I wouldn't buy smoked salmon from them. But obviously, anything that's bought at the supermarket is safe to eat. In some countries, they would recommend not to eat shellfish or prawns because of the high content of cholesterol. It has been proven that the kind of cholesterol that's in shellfish and prawns is the good kind of cholesterol, so it's good for you to eat it. The amount of fat, saturated fat in this kind of fish is absolutely minimal, so almost close to zero. So it's absolutely safe to eat. Other fishes that's best to reduce in the amount of portion are the oily fish. I'm talking about salmon, mackerel and trout. We would recommend to eat 2 portions of this kind of fish twice per week. Tuna is not considered to be an oily fish, but it's still recommended for you to eat up to 2 tuna steaks or 4 little tins of 80 grams of tuna. This is because oily fish and tuna may have a higher content in mercury and pesticides and pollutants because they're all trapped in the fat, in their body fat. So it's better to reduce the amounts. It's not that if you have a little bit of tuna in your salad, it's going to be a bad thing. Actually, fish is still a good source of protein and it's a great alternative to meat if you don't like it. Other foods that you can eat during the pregnancy are eggs. They used to say that the old guidelines used to say that you shouldn't be eating raw eggs, but then 3 years ago there has been a study conducted on eggs and the impact of the eggs on pregnant women, and it has been demonstrated that it's completely safe to eat raw eggs, especially if they are the ones with the red lion stamp on. So anything that you buy at the supermarket or at your butcher, it's absolutely safe as long as there is the red lion stamp on. Anything that's been bought at the farmer market, hasn't been checked, I would be cautious with eating them, even if you've always eaten that and you've never had any problems. That's to avoid something called salmonella. So you can eat eggs in all their forms, so completely raw, partially raw, thoroughly cooked, scrambled eggs, anything, you name it, you can eat. It's absolutely safe, and again, it's a great alternative to fish and meat. A good source of vitamin D and protein. Fruit and vegetables are a very interesting topic for me, especially for these women coming from continental Europe and Italy, because in the past they used to say you should eat fruit and vegetables if they are thoroughly cooked. If they're raw, you shouldn't eat them at all, because otherwise you can get toxoplasmosis. You remember toxoplasmosis, the same one with the meat. As I said, because the cat's droppings will contaminate the soil, anything that grows on that soil will be contaminated. As I said, the only way to kill toxoplasma is through cooking and freezing. But if you wash your fruit and vegetables carefully under running water by scrubbing them thoroughly with your hands and nothing else, you will make sure that you reduce the amount of bacteria that's on the surface of fruit and vegetables, and you will reduce the incidence of you getting toxoplasmosis, so you getting infected with toxoplasmosis. So it's absolutely safe to eat raw fruit and vegetables, but you need to wash them. If you're out and about or you're out at the restaurant, I wouldn't recommend you to order a salad just because you don't know how thoroughly they wash their vegetables. If you want to have some fruit, it's better to peel it, especially if you're out and about, because again, you don't know if they're clean, if they're washing them, and how well they're washing them. If you're at home and you will want to enjoy the skin on your apple, make sure that you wash them thoroughly under running water. Anything that's frozen, as I said, because freezing kills toxoplasma, it's safe to eat. So I've heard of people soaking their frozen vegetables in any sort of solutions made of water and special disinfectants or water and bicarbonate of soda. This is something that's really recommended still by some obstetricians in Italy. You don't need any of that. The final result will be a disaster, an epic disaster, and would be disgusting. So just stop doing that. Frozen vegetables have already been washed, so it's safe to eat them. Obviously, you need to cook them first. In terms of other foods or anyway drinks that you could eat, that you could drink during pregnancy, caffeine is still safe as long as you reduce the amount of caffeine. So the guidelines say they shouldn't be drinking more than 200 milligrams of caffeine per day. That looks like 2 mugs of instant coffee or 1 little pot of espresso coffee. You can drink decaf coffee, decaf tea, as many as you want. Normal tea, you can eat up to 2 cups, again, 2.5 cups. Herbal teas, just because of caution, because there isn't any research, any study about the consumption of herbal products or herbal teas and medical herbs on pregnant women, or some medical herbs on pregnant women, because it's not ethical to conduct a study on pregnant women. Obviously, the recommendation is to drink no more than 2 cups of herbal tea per day. In regards to herbal tea, you can eat up to 2 cups per day, mixing up to 5 different herbs. And you should alternate herbs every day just to have a bit of variety. Okay? Alcohol, it's an absolute no-no in pregnancy. You can go with alcohol-free beer, alcohol-free wine, but please, please, please stop drinking during the pregnancy because that could lead to miscarriage, stillbirths, and preterm labors, and also growth restriction for your baby. Smoking, it's not really food related, but just a health advice: quit smoking. It's not, you don't need it. Baby, and especially baby, doesn't need it. If you would like to talk to me a bit more in depth about your diet and about which ones are the food to avoid and which ones are safe to eat a bit more in detail, please don't hesitate to contact me via my Facebook page. You can either put a comment below this video or send me an email on my email address katia@yourmidwife.co.uk, or you can send an information request through my website www.yourmidwife.co.uk, or you can send me a message through Facebook. If you found this video useful, please share it, spread the word with your friends and family. And again, if you have any questions, if you would like more support, you can always book a 15-minute free session or a full consultation. Until next time, bye-bye.